Golf is supposed to be a gentleman's game, right? A sport of quiet focus, strict etiquette, and unwavering respect. Well, that's a nice idea, but behind the polite applause and manicured greens, golf has a history of brutal conflict. These weren't just friendly matches, they were legendary wars fought on the fairway that defined entire eras. From icy stare-downs to public trash talk, this was high-stakes drama that felt more like a boxing match. Today, we're counting down the most intense and craziest rivalries golf has ever seen. Let's start it off with the newest rivalry, Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, a feud that exploded on social media just as much as it did on the course. Brooks Koepka versus Bryson DeChambeau. This wasn't just your grandfather's rivalry of quiet respect nods, and this was pure, uncut 21st century beef. It all kicked off around 2019 over one of golf's oldest complaints, slow play. Koepka, a guy who prides himself on a brisk, no-nonsense pace, made some pointed comments about certain players taking forever. He never named Bryson, but everyone knew exactly who he meant. DeChambeau, golf's resident scientist, was famous for his methodical, time-consuming pre-shot routines. Bryson felt targeted and reportedly told Koepka's caddy that if Brooks had a problem, he should say it to his face. And with that, the fuse was lit. The tension simmered until it boiled over in a series of petty and frankly hilarious public spats. During a Twitch stream, a newly bulked-up DeChambeau took a shot at Koepka's physique and ESPN's body issue, joking that Koepka didn't have any abs. Koepka's response was ice cold. He simply posted a picture of his 4 major championship trophies with the caption, "You were right, I am too short of a six-pack." But the defining moment, the clip that went viral and cemented their status as bitter rivals, came in the 2021 PGA Championship. Koepka was in the middle of an interview when DeChambeau walked behind him, the sound of his metal spikes clicking on the pavement. Koepka completely lost his train of thought, rolled his eyes in spectacular fashion, and muttered, "I lost my train of thought," hearing that BS. It was a moment of unfiltered hatred that golf fans absolutely loved. The rivalry even spilled into the galleries, with fans taunting DeChambeau by yelling, "Brooksy, Brooksy," a stunt Koepka actively encouraged by offering free beer to anyone who got kicked out for doing it. For a while, it was the best soap opera in golf, but surprisingly, the formation of Live Golf seemed to force a truce. As they became teammates, the ice thawed. Koepka eventually admitted he was wrong about DeChambeau and that he was a good dude. They may have squashed the beef, but for a few years, their gloriously petty war gave golf an injection of drama it hadn't seen in decades. Let's go back a few years and Ben Hogan versus Sam Snead, the clash of styles. Number 2 brings us to a rivalry built on something way more fundamental than social media insults, a profound difference in style. Ben Hogan versus Sam Snead was a battle of philosophies, a duel between the meticulous technician and the raw natural talent. Ben Hogan was the Hawk, a man of intimidating focus and legendary precision. He didn't just play golf, he reverse engineered it. He built his swing through relentless, obsessive practice and an unmatched understanding of mechanics. Peers thought of him as a made golfer, someone who clawed his way to greatness through a sheer force of will. And then you had Sam Snead, or Slammin' Sammy, who was just pure God-given talent. His swing was a thing of beauty, so fluid and natural that it was said he could take a year off and still be one of the best. Their rivalry defined the mid-20th century. It was a perfect clash between Hogan's icy concentration and Snead's folksy charm. For years, they were the two titans of the sport. The record books show a fascinating back and forth. While Hogan is often remembered for his incredible ball striking, Snead actually held an edge in their head-to-head showdowns. They tied in 2 major championship playoffs, and both times Snead came out on top, beating Hogan for the 1950 Los Angeles Open and, most famously, the 1954 Masters. Hogan, however, had the ultimate trump card: 4 U.S. Open titles. It was the one championship Snead famously never won. Despite finishing as a runner-up, their contrasting paths to greatness created a legendary rivalry that endures to this day. Number 3, Seve Ballesteros versus Nick Faldo, the European War. While Hogan and Snead battled for American supremacy, a different kind of war was brewing across the Atlantic, one that would define European golf for a generation. Seve Ballesteros versus Nick Faldo was a clash of fire and ice. Seve was the Spanish matador, charismatic, daring, and wildly creative. He played golf with a passion that bordered on artistry, seeing shots no one else could even imagine, often from impossible places like a parking lot. Nick Faldo, on the other hand, was the English engineer, methodical, precise, and relentlessly disciplined. As Faldo himself put it, they were chalk and cheese. They both arrived on the European Tour in the mid-1970s and immediately saw each other as the main obstacle to victory. They would stand on opposite ends of the practice range, two titans studying their competition, but their rivalry truly exploded on the Ryder Cup stage. For them, the Ryder Cup wasn't just another tournament, it was a battle of national and continental pride. Seve especially played with a fiery us-against-them mentality, fueled by what he saw as disrespect from the American side. Seve's battles were intense and personal, especially against American Paul Azinger in the 1989 Ryder Cup. The two had a notoriously tense argument over changing a scuffed ball, which culminated later in the match with Seve refusing to concede a short putt. It was pure psychological warfare. Faldo had his own Ryder Cup drama with Azinger in their 1993 singles match. Faldo hit a miraculous hole-in-one, but Azinger still fought him to a draw. The Ballesteros-Faldo dynamic was complex. They were sometimes partners for Europe and other times fierce competitors. There was a deep respect between them, but it was usually buried under layers of competitive tension. Years later, Faldo admitted he didn't realize how much that respect meant until after Seve's passing. He recalled a moment where Seve told him, "You know, Nick, it's time for us to be friends." It was a moment of peace after years of on-course war, a war that elevated European golf and turned the Ryder Cup into the spectacle it is today. These rivalries are exactly what makes golf more than just a game. They're stories of human drama, clashing egos, and incredible skill under pressure. If you're enjoying this breakdown of golf's greatest feuds, do us a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into golf history. Which rivalry do you think was the most intense? Let us know in the comments after you watch the video. Number 4, Watson versus Nicklaus, the duel in the sun. Some rivalries span decades. Others are immortalized in a single unforgettable showdown. That was the case for Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus at the 1977 Open Championship at Turnberry, a battle so epic it earned its own name, the duel in the sun. Going into the final 2 rounds, Watson and Nicklaus were tied and paired together. What happened next wasn't just a golf tournament, it was one of the greatest head-to-head duels in sports history. They matched each other shot for shot under the Scottish sun, pulling away from the rest of the field by a staggering margin. After 3 rounds, they were miles ahead of everyone else. The final round was pure theater. Nicklaus, the Golden Bear, came out charging and built a 3-shot lead, but Watson, the fiery challenger, refused to break. He clawed his way back, and the two traded blows like heavyweight boxers. On the 15th, Watson tied it up by sinking an unbelievable 60-foot putt off the green. As they stood on the 16th, the tension was suffocating. But Watson turned to Nicklaus and said, "This is what it's all about, isn't it?" Jack smiled and agreed. The climax was breathtaking. Watson birdied 17 to take a 1-shot lead, and on 18, Nicklaus pushed his drive into the thick gorse, and it looked over. But in a moment of pure genius, Nicklaus hacked an 8-iron onto the green and then drained a winding 35 putt for an impossible birdie. The pressure was now squarely on Watson. Needing a birdie to win, he calmly stepped up and rolled in his 2-foot putt for victory. They had both shot 65 in the 3rd round, and in the final round, Nicklaus shot a 66 and Watson shot 65. The 3rd-place finisher was 10 strokes behind Nicklaus. It was a flawless, beautiful display of golf that went beyond competition and became a shared moment of greatness. Number 5, and Arnold Palmer versus Jack Nicklaus, the King and the Bear. No rivalry did more to popularize golf and turn it into a TV spectacle than the battle between the King and the Golden Bear. Arnold Palmer versus Jack Nicklaus wasn't just a competition, it was a cultural phenomenon. Arnold Palmer was golf's first modern superstar. He was charismatic, handsome, and played with a swashbuckling go-for-broke style that America loved. His massive fan base, Arnie's Army, followed his every move, turning tournaments into major events. And then came Jack Nicklaus. He was 10 years younger, with a calculated, powerful, and almost scientific approach to the game. He was the challenger to Palmer's throne, and at first, the public wanted nothing to do with him. Their rivalry truly ignited at the 1962 U.S. Open at Oakmont, in Palmer's home state of Pennsylvania. The crowd was openly hostile to Nicklaus, cheering his misses, but despite the pressure, the 22-year-old Nicklaus beat Palmer in an 18-hole playoff to win his first major. It was a passing of the torch, even if Arnie's Army refused to see it that way. This set the stage for a decade of epic duels. They were a perfect study in contrasts. Palmer's emotional, thrilling charges versus Nicklaus's steady dominance. While they finished 1, 2, and 5 different majors, Nicklaus often won decisively, but just having both of their names on top of the leaderboard was enough to create incredible drama. Off the course, their relationship evolved from a chilly rivalry into a deep and lasting friendship. They competed in business, in course design, and even in branded beverages. But underneath it all was a foundation of immense mutual respect. As Nicklaus once put it, he and Arnold were the fiercest of competitors, but they always knew they could count on each other if they ever had a problem. Their rivalry was the perfect storm of personality, talent, and timing that launched golf into a new stratosphere. From the icy glare of Ben Hogan to the epic eye roll of Brooks Koepka, these rivalries prove that golf has never been just a quiet walk in the park. They are chapters in sports history, filled with psychological warfare, clashing personalities, and moments of brilliance forged in the fire of competition. These conflicts didn't just define the players, they defined entire eras of golf, captivating fans and pushing the sport into new and dramatic heights. What's your favorite golf rivalry? Is there a legendary feud we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. And hey, don't forget, always keep it in the short stuff.